Hello, Joey J. Ping here, checking back in, man. RespectMyRegion.com. We're back on another episode today on the RMR Podcast Network. We've got Jay Wright here, product manager over at Little Beach Harvest. Guys, we're in the New York Cannabis Podcast, man. This is the New York Cannabis Podcast, the third official episode. Jay, how you living today? Welcome.
I'm good, man. Living life, living abundantly, getting it going, smoking the daily herb, having a good life.
Let's go.
Just what we can do. You feel me?
Good vibes, man. Good vibes. This is the third, I believe it's the third official episode of the New York Cannabis Podcast. We could be more, it could be less. I don't know. I was Googling it. I couldn't remember. But the point of that is we're early on in supporting New York cannabis culture. And so today, man, it is an honor and a pleasure to have you here on our journey today, because New York cannabis culture, although it's been around for a long time, right, Jay, before both of us, right?
Absolutely.
This new industry, right? Whether it's the traditional market, whatever it's like today, or it's this legal adult use market, right? Or in your guys' world of tribal sovereignty, right?
Exactly. Yep.
It's all new. And so we're going to break down today New York cannabis culture. We're going to talk about the legacy journey. We're going to talk about this weird legal journey that exists in New York with 200 stores all over New York City and the rest of the state. We're going to talk about your space, because you guys play a unique role yourselves, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Before we dive any further, though, let's paint the picture for these people, brother. What do you do at Little Beach Harvest, and what do you guys do as Little Beach Harvest?
Yeah, no doubt, man. Just give you a little bit of description about myself. My name is Jay Wright. I am the product marketing manager for Little Beach Harvest. We are Shinnecock owned, wholly owned, tribally owned dispensary, licensed, lab tested, tax-free though. And we are on this part of the island, the eastern end of the Hamptons, right? Eastern end of Long Island, right? So we're on Shinnecock Nation. The dispensary is on territory. It's on a mile strip of a few other smoke shops, but we are the only big, huge licensed big dispensary there. You can't miss it. Whole big 6,000 foot square space, elevated building, 2 floors, all wooden, natural lighting, beautiful aesthetic, beautiful attire. Everything is nice about our building. Nice open floor plan. But we're on a strip there where it's right, this strip, the Montauk strip, right behind it is the Shinnecock Reservation. So it's still part of the land and the area itself. It's just on the outside to where it has public road access for people who are just passing by are able to check it out, come see what we're about. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful vibe.
Do you mind if I actually screen share for a second, just because we can? Because I'm not from there, so it's hard for me to visualize what's going on, right? And so my good friend over here at Google Earth pulled up where you guys' dispensary is. Watch this. Look at that, you guys. Look at that. How cool. So this is what it looks. Here's a quick photo there. But you were talking about this strip. Let me go ahead and exit this out. Talk to me about this strip and where you're talking about, so that people can really understand. Right. We're in the Hamptons. We're in New York, right here. So you said the island. So this is like that big island here.
Yep. This is that's Long Island right there. The whole island right. Going into Queens. People don't like to admit that Queens is part of Long Island, but
so
come on, dog.
Where are you said where's the tribal nation at? Where's that at on this?
So do you see where at the bottom towards the water, where it says, like, zoom in a little bit more, you see Shinnecock Bay. Look a little further up. All of this is technically, I won't lie to you, and it's not a lie, it's all of ours. The whole eastern end is technically Indian country, but we were pushed back to our territory when we were, back in the times. So right where you see Shinnecock Nation, right there, that's our land, and that's our area right
Powerful. There. Super crazy, right? Yep. And guys, this cannabis has a unique history, right? And it's not such a great one for people that are black or brown, right? And so we want to acknowledge
Sure,
that part
absolutely.
because the rules that are in place are based on a lot of historical things, not based on a lot of science. Whereas today we're pushing things through because of medical cannabis, because people need the help. There's all these different situations that call for it. And so to now fast forward to today,
Mhm.
right? Circling back, because now I'm smoking, I might get in this tangent here, Joe. You might have to dial me back in here, right?
I'm with you. We taking this
Oh,
ride, dog. We
we were
riding,
hiding
dog.
Google Earth, bro. It was crazy there for a second, right? The way that zoomed in. I had never done that before, but again, I couldn't. It's hard to picture this until you make it real. You're a real person, and that's where you're at in New York. It's tribal, right? It's a different
Absolutely.
culture. It can be a different environment. Cool. It's the Hamptons. Great. Does that Hampton culture
Mhm.
copy and paste apply to the rest of you guys?
Not man, let me tell you, it's very interesting being an Afro-Indigenous
Mm-hmm.
citizen here on territory, because just how you just looked at that strip and how you looked at everything. Once you step off of the Shinnecock territory, once you actually step onto Shinnecock territory, you're not technically in New York at this point anymore. You're on
Sovereign
sovereign land.
land.
So things is very so it's very different. And then when you look at what we've came from over being in poverty and pushed back to where we were, and then also living in this area where it's made from
Mm-hmm.
money, where everything you know from the Hamptons is surfaced around money. And like even from that aerial view that you saw where at Shinnecock land we have a beach area, and then it moves over into traditional land. It basically you see it over on the other side, other houses, mansion houses. It's hard to sit there and understand the concept of life and how it's gone if you're moving in such a way like that. And you got to understand that, like, this is where we're at. We're Afro-Indigenous, and we're looking at what should be in quote ours, because it's our land and these people move on to it, and they have all this money to do everything else that it should to ourselves, that we should have abundance to, but we're just so stuck here. And it's a crazy view on things, and it's a crazy stigma and a look that you have to overcome all the time as being, because everything that we have, we're part of we have to deal with a stigma with everything, even with the
The
cannabis. It's such a
cannabis is just one part of it in this case, right? And these adds that additional layers because we're all humans first, right? And then these systems and things become put in place, and that starts to change the dynamic, right? And so
exactly.
we look at what you guys are at, right? Sovereign land, you're in your own area, your own place, your own sets of rules, right? But then around you, you
Mhm.
guys have 200 dispensaries that are operating in that legal capacity, right?
In the legal
What is
capacity.
that like for you guys? Do you notice that people there in your sovereign land go to those stores just like everybody else can normally, or do you know that do you guys have the same product? What is that like
So,
for you guys?
so I'm gonna
Help me
be
understand.
honest with you. A lot of there's more camaraderie within our tribal entities, the shops around the area. People shop here. People, our customers, our consumers are really basically our whole community around us, from the far eastern end, which is Montauk, all the way out to the western end, Brentwood, Pass on. There's people that come from to check us out because of who we are and what we represent, and the kind of
Yeah,
flower and opportunities and the event space that we have. So our community and our demographic is eclectic. We have a lot of people that come from who would go shop at the competitor store, but then come here to shop over at with us, and then tell us like, I'm not really into the New York market flower. You know what I mean? I like the flower you guys can get because we have indoor flower, because we are able to do a
mm,
lot differently. We can move differently. We can have higher
yeah,
MIGs of THC gummies. We have the opportunity to do so much more opposed to a stricter limit that the New York market has.
wow,
While also, but being lab tested and continuously doing it the safe way. We haven't
wow,
yet to have any issues, and we keep it that way because me, especially as product market, top
crazy,
of these things, not only because of safety, but also the look of what it looks like to
right?
be Afro Indigenous and such and such, and best believe one person from somewhere else says, "Oh man, this Little Beach product got me sick. Never shopping at an Indian place ever again." That's a longer stigma that I have to live with, and I'd rather not. I'd rather cut that shit high and dry and get it. We take care of, nip it in the bud then and there. If it doesn't have the COAs, if it doesn't have anything that it needs to have, it doesn't even make it into the spot. So making it sure that we are still competing with our outside New York market, those 200 plus, competing with them, but also keeping it unique and keeping it elevated each time is like a big thing for us, you know.
There have
But like,
been,
not to add, it's the space that we have too. We have such an
yeah.
event space. Our space is like so open for anything to transpire because we have consumption at our area. We're building a lounge upstairs for our area. You know, we have opportunity and space not only on the 6,000 square foot, but elsewhere as well on the territory land.
That's crazy. So I wanted to key in on a couple of things that you mentioned because there was a lot to unpack there, right? You know, variations between your industry in the sovereign area but compared to what the system is and the way the rules they have to follow for New York adult use cannabis regulation program, right? So that's the thing. Those are not the same. You don't have the same rules. They don't have these indoor situations going on in the quantity like other states have. They had to start with sun grown. They had to start with social equity. There's a variety of things and decisions made for the way their system has rolled out and the rules there and the regulations there. You guys have a different stuff. So let's just break it down. You guys have a dispensary, and then people are able to grow indoor. Are there outdoor grows there as well? There's greenhouses.
We do have people do. Yeah, people do. People do indoor. They do outdoor hydro. We have satellite growers. You know, so we have people built. This place is not only to sustain because we give back to the nation a 4% of all our earnings back to the nation quarterly, but we also this place is meant for entrepreneurship. So it's giving our other Indigenous people here an opportunity. If they want to create a brand, they can bring their stuff in, you know, and then they have a place to operate from. You know, so in that standpoint, we have a lot of satellite growers who are doing the indoor and creating for us and creating for themselves as well.
Man, it's such a unique system, right? Because there's obviously like in each of these states, like there's various taxes, and there's all these different loopholes, bells and whistles, these things that you have to do to just get open, right? To become the business, whether it's the licensing. I always fucking refer to the cameras and how crazy it is, how many cameras these businesses need compared to regular companies, right? It's wild to me. You know, let's reverse track a little bit, right? Let's talk about you and your journey. We could this episode is a little bit about Little Beach, right? But also too, it's the story, right? It's the people, right? So you mentioned Afro-Indigenous, right? What's your journey with cannabis been like? What has that been like for you as an Afro-Indigenous individual there in New York, where cannabis has been a part of the culture in New York, but maybe New York City's culture doesn't apply to everybody or every part of the state, right?
Yeah. So I grew up in the Bronx, right? I grew up in the Bronx, but I'm also Indigenous, so I moved out here as a younger person when I was like, I was always coming back and forth out here, tell you the truth, because my family's from here. So I was always traveling back and forth, even as an infant. If my dad was still around, he'll tell you when I crossed over the train tracks, did like the train tracks over here, the LIRR. Once we crossed over that shit, my eyes would wake up because I would know that I was home, type shit, you know. So when I was younger, I was already kind of living. I was living in the Bronx, so I was like already a part of that. Growing up in the Bronx was different, opposed to growing up out here. You know what I mean? Like out here is Hampton-ish. It's like collared up. You know what I mean? You're chilling, and out in the city, it's a little more faster paced.
Yep. The communities
So
are different, right? We've got different types of people, the lifestyles, the tempo, the culture of these areas. It's going to all vary,
it's
right?
different. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
So, but growing up, even in school, I was introduced into cannabis, and I was probably, I want to say, like 14 or so when cannabis like first like really like when I actually was like, yo, what's that? You know what I mean? What's that smell? Like, what y'all smoking over there? Type shit. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, all right. So I got introduced slowly, but then it really kind of took a change in my life when I moved out here, because out here there was more growers, farms, all kinds of shit. So even though it wasn't legal, I had a lot of people already doing that shit because it was either growing shrooms, it was growing bud, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, you know. So it was easier to come across. Um, I took fancy to it though, probably a little bit more when I was like in my 20s, and I was like kind of diving into like growing myself. Like I was like, damn, I kind of want to grow for myself. I was doing a little hustling. I was like, yo, you know what? Like let me see about creating for myself type shit. And basically I really stuck to that. You know, I stuck to that. And then I heard my nation was doing cannabis, right? And this is about 8 years, 9 years ago when cannabis started to become a little bit more talkative about becoming rescheduled and being able to be into New York and everything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know, if we're getting into this, and at this point, the tribe was only thinking about doing it from the medical standpoint. But then laws changed to where we could do it recreationally. And then I was already invested at that point. Like I want to say shout out to Shanae Bullock. She put me on my cousin Sean Boyd because they were like, yo, you love cannabis. There's where we kind of start becoming the ground root to this and becoming a tribal entity
Mm-hmm.
and becoming an actual tribal business. People who already have like a profession. And I was already working as a manager into a retail store for a liquor store. And I was already had people talkative vibe to myself, and I love cannabis. So they're like, yo, and I had ideas, you know, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to apply that and keep it still traditional within like still rooted to where it wouldn't disrespect my nation, you know, because that's the other part. You got to think about the tribe itself and the elders and not disappointing them or having them feel some kind of way because of stigma, not only on the outside but on the inside as well. You
Absolutely.
have to
There's going to be external and internal, things to have to. I'll call them challenges, right? Because
absolutely
they've also been conditioned to the stigmas based on the eras that they've lived
from the
through in their
jump.
lives and with the things that they've been through,
From
right?
the jump, exactly. So
Gotta
keeping that in
gotta pay
mind,
respect to the elders, man. Gotta. They may not.
absolutely,
They might. They
yo,
say the
it's
rabbit
gonna
lead the
happen.
race, but the tortoise does also win some races, right? Those
Yeah,
guys
this
know.
all
They
this
might move
would
a
have
little slow,
happened.
but they know.
None of this would have happened without our tribal members and them allowing and being progressive in thought, you know, and also our community, not only from our elders, but down and so on, you know, because this is for a generational thing. So I
Absolutely.
approached this hearing that was because knowing that this is supposed to go back into my nation, I
Mm-hmm.
jumped on it immediately because I'm trying to help whatever stamp I leave is just to show that I'm here to help and support in whatever kind of way that I can. That's all. Like the money doesn't matter. It's about what can do for the next generational piece of life here and sustainability for the nation and for the people around me, because the plant itself is medicine for the consumer, for the people around me as well, because it's all a revolving door.
That's fire, dude. Like, it's interesting to listen and get a better understanding of what goes into tribal culture, what goes into sovereign
Of
land, because this
course.
is it. It's a different world in a lot of ways, right? Because so much of this world is systems, processes, rules, laws, regulations,
Mhm.
licensing, all these different things. It's all that to get in for this house to be created. Somebody had to get some kind of
Yeah.
license to build here, right?
Approval.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
something, right? And so it's just
red
interesting to
tape,
really
man.
unpack and learn more about that in that specific area in this Shinnecock Nation, right? In this real sovereign land. And so, but as much as we can talk about the nation, cannabis is cannabis at the end of the day. We're humans. We're having this supply and demand of cannabis. You mentioned what did you say? Offsite growers, ghost growers. What was that
Oh,
terminology you
satellite
used?
growers, satellite.
Satellite growers. So that's growers for certain situations, offsite, right?
Yep.
And then you've got, is there a variety of brands?
Yes,
Little
absolutely.
Beach Harvest, right? You guys are a dispensary, and you guys have a variety of brands in the store. Walk me
Right.
through that.
Yeah, so Little Beach Harvest itself, we have our own brand, right? We have our gummies, we have
Okay,
flour, we have vapes, we have rosin, we have whatever you need within that cannabis consumption level, we got that for you.
you guys
But
make
we
your own
also have
products.
yep, yep, yep,
Dope,
all
dope.
in-house. And we also have those satellite growers who started their own brands. So
Mm.
we have Sean Exotics, we have Big Boy Buds, we have Shinnecock Hemp, we have Force, Eastern Botanicals, and so on and so on. We're growing more and more as they
Stony
go on. I was
Shores.
just yeah, and that's that's our Algonquin name actually. The people of the shores, because that's what we were. We were whale harvesters. We rode whales back in the day. That's how we survived off of off of whales.
Wow.
so so that's how strong my people were, man. Like we was riding whales back in the day on canoes. Canoes probably like 8 foot long, 12 foot long, let's say 12, 16 foot long canoes.
That's
And we get
crazy.
on a 32-foot back whale.
How cool is that, man? Like you really think
but
about
but
like
yeah,
that
man.
there's a true history, right? And a true culture to it. A lot of people around the
Yeah,
world say America's bland, but when you really look at the core people here, the core foundation of it, there's so much culture to be uncovered, to learn, to get to better understand. And you guys are approaching cannabis in your own unique way. With cool branding, I mean, the logo and the brand Little Beach Harvest, like everything that I was learning about you guys, what was just really encapsulating for me, because where I come from in Seattle, there's a very strong tribal culture and element all across the Pacific Northwest. Seattle is cheap Seattle, right?
for
For
sure.
us. And so it's like,
Yeah,
and in Nike being in Oregon, you see it within how they do all of their merchandise and products and collabs and cool designs, whether it's the Oregon Ducks and how they do the wings. All these different
yeah.
elements
I love
are
those.
incorporated into it, and it was super cool to start seeing that get brought to life through your guys' dispensary and through your guys' brand ecosystem there.
Yeah.
Fire. Let's talk about product quality. Jay, you got to be a smoker, right? You from New York,
Yeah.
right?
I'm a product quality R&D me. That's what R&D,
Okay,
right?
for sure, for sure. Okay, so
Thanks.
let's do starting five, because it's basketball season. Starting five, what's your guys' best products? And if you could go double down, starting five top strains for your flower ecosystem.
Okay. I would say best products start at 5. People love our Little Beach bites. We have these gummies from 10 mgs to 50 mgs. People love them. They're live resin. Eat them up, man. 2, I would say our flour. Our flour, we have a great range of different eclectic stuff. 3, our we have great hash rosin
Ooh,
pens.
I
We
wasn't
have some
expecting the
nice
rosin tens right now.
yeah, 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 rosin pens, man. Those things, people got onto them, and as soon as we ran out, we had made a whole bunch, but not enough. But we ran out, and people lost their
Damn.
minds. They were like, "Yo, wait, I'm getting." I handle the Instagram, I handle all the social media, and people were like, "Yo, what's up with the hash rosins? You got the hash rosins?" So people, the hash rosin back, they're locked in. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, I would say hash rosin, our live resin pens as well, and then
Smacking terpy. Terps or what, dude?
honestly,
Terps or what?
yeah, they're terps. Um,
Mm-hmm.
more or
Fire.
less like a And then what else would I would say will be our number 5? Who would make the center position? Ooh, I would say honestly, I'd probably say our drinks. It's not our drinks per se, but the drinks go crazy out here, man, because we're
Mm.
such in an area that like it's a seasonal area, so beaches, things like that, and you can't bring glass on the boats, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
You
so
know
the
what I'm
cans go
saying?
crazy.
So exactly, cans go crazy over here. And then what was the next breakdown that you needed?
What are your top strains in the flower ecosystem?
And Capital Haze, man, had a chokehold on people. Capital Haze, we had some Capital Haze that really was like people. Another thing, like the hash rosin, people asking, well, "Yo, what's up with that? What's up with that?"
Mm-hmm.
We had some apple fritters. We had grape gas. That shit is amazing. Grape gas is crazy, and lemon cherry jealousy. People love that a lot. And then what else did we just have? We had some melted strawberries that
Man,
tested
you
at
guys
like
got a good little
33%.
variety there, man. Some
Yeah.
flavor,
Oh man,
some
that's not even.
gas.
I'm not even telling you all of them, man. It's hard to say, but like I'm thinking like the craziest right now that's like high testers. Yeah, that melted strawberries and that grape gas, that shit was like at 33% THC, man. It was putting people down.
That's crazy. Now, on that note, when it comes to your guys' nation and the people there, is it the same
Yeah.
conversation? High THC often? Is that just the consumer demand? Is what's smacking all the time, or where are they
No,
at as a consumer with their
to
requests
be
for you?
honest with you, I was just recently checking our demographic. Honestly, from us, like when we first opened up, it was like a 40 and up demographic who were looking for something to help them relax and go to sleep.
Mm,
They needed something to basically, if they had ailments, if they had pains, if they had aches. Our CBD line goes crazy too. We have a good couple of CBD brands from the New York area that do very well here. But it was basically the flower was pertained to helping them relax and go to sleep. But
yeah,
the New York area, man, we're sativa people. We're driven on energy and fat, like I said to
yeah.
you
You guys
before.
like smoking all them flares,
Yeah, we're
the
fast
flavors,
paced
and all them
executive too.
sours.
Yeah, so as the demographic actually started to go lower, because I just checked, it was now we're reaching like 21 to 35 age bracket now. That's more of our shoppers here because of me bringing in sativa driven flower like Chocolope and all those other ones and good hybrid sativas, Nightmare Bananas,
Yeah, because we
things like
want we
that.
want different strains for different parts of the day. Give me some fruits in the morning
Keep
or a
me up.
sour diesel at night. Hit me with some more gas at some point. Maybe sprinkle it in a
Yeah.
little bit. It's like for me, what's a spliff? When I mix sativa and indica together, right? Like that's that's
Yes.
how
Yeah.
that, that's how that works for me, right? Like
Thanks, man.
that's hilarious, dude. I love it, man. You got. It sounds to me like you guys have a really strong palate, I'm sorry, a really strong offering for the palate out there,
Yeah.
um, which you guys seem to also have a really strong grasp on that as well, man.
Absolutely. It's important to know your area and the people who actually benefit from you being in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's about what actually helps them and what they need, because I don't want to give somebody, I don't want to tell them, and I've seen it, which drives me crazy, and not here but in other places, like somebody that's looking for uh, a flower to help them relax, and then because it's the strain of the day, it's like, nah, get that. I'll sell them the sativa, and then that person comes back or doesn't come back with the attitude of, man, that didn't work for me, or no, I don't want to take that bud tender's request, or just they don't come back because the flower didn't work for them. The product just didn't work because you were looking at the dollar instead of the person who's handing you the
Yeah.
dollar.
It's a miscommunication on many levels, right? Because if you
Yeah,
miscommunicate, aka if you miss the connection point, which is, hey, I'm looking for this, and this. If you allow as a consumer to let the bud tender truly just guide you every time, right? Then there's too much opportunity for risk. Not only because in the bud tender, because you're an individual with your own
you're
choices and
living.
your own preferences. That's why. Don't let someone else dictate what's right for you based on your
Yes.
inability to, because you're in a rush or because
Yep.
you're afraid or because your dollar is this or that. Make a decision for yourself, but make an informed decision. And that's where we're here today, folks. Again, episode 3 officially, New York Cannabis Podcast, presented by Trees, guys. If you guys want to learn more information about Trees, check out their website, trees.io. They are the premier cannabis ERP software for retailers in the cannabis industry. They are here to help you guys grow your revenue, and they help us help you guys, man. We're all connecting here. This is an episode today featuring Jay Wright, product marketing manager of Little Beach Harvest in New York. You guys are out there, man. You guys are in what I would call the cuts, because I've never been there and you're a long ways away. So let's go ahead and continue through the interview. I got a couple more questions for you. How does that sound, Jay? You ready to rock with me
For
still?
sure.
All
Yes,
right,
yes, yes.
we got about 5 minutes left, so let's go ahead and get to some good ones, shall we?
Sure.
Let's talk about some of those partnerships that you guys have with some of your satellite grows. Are those with other local growers there, other AKA other like native tribal sovereign nation people there?
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
everyone who we work with is from the tribe per se. Like
that's sick.
all our growers and everybody,
Amazing.
everyone growing is from the nation. So it's
So
and that's not only within the flower. That's also people who creating vapes and edibles as well. You know,
amazing. So
so
you guys
the
literally have
people
your
have
own brand industry there of people doing it that you guys have brought in as partners to bring and create these different things to life. That's super cool. There's a
for
licensing
sure,
structure for all of them.
and we work with other nations. Whoever we have a tribal agreement with, we work with. And if they have product that they would like to share with us, or we're starting to get our distribution up once we have our full
Is this in other
area.
states too, or only New York?
New York, the states in New York, like other tribal, other
Other
tribes
nations in New York.
in New York. Yeah,
Crazy.
we're
That's
allowed to work
that's
with them
amazing.
or whoever is within a tribal agreement with us. You know, as long as we have a tribal trade agreement, we're allowed to work with them. And you know, so that goes from other products, from vapes, gummies, all that sort. So we like to. My job is to make sure that the Little Beach Harvest brand elevates itself, but also its people, and on land, on territory, but also the connection with other tribes, because
Yeah.
it's such a hard place for some of them to even have to work in their own other area, you know, with finding or having sustainability to find products and things like that. So if we're
Hmm.
able to produce certain mass gummies for them and then distribute to them, you know, then why not? You know, so it's all about building the
Absolutely.
bridge.
What advice do
Yeah.
you have for these other entrepreneurs out there? For anybody like you or other people that are a part of the nation there or other nations in New York? What advice do you
Man,
have that you can share?
keep going. There's going to be a lot of people who either say that they will help you and leave you high and dry, or not even say that they help you. You know, they'll just entertain the fact of you being in the room. You know, oh hey, the real focus is yourself, making sure that your integrity to not only yourself but the plant and you and your community and who you're doing it for makes sense. You know, you don't want it's all about the love that you actually put into why you're doing it, opposed to anything else. And if your love is true for it, you're gonna be great. You know, that's
Yeah.
for real. If you love it and you really want to get something done as human beings, you could get it done for sure.
Here in my list to chat about is some of your guys' upcoming events, right? You guys have like your anniversary November 15th, right? We have
Yeah,
some consumption friendly events. You guys do some really cool things in the community. Will you touch
yeah,
base? Will you expand on some of those movie nights and the cars and coffee things and help people kind of
sure.
really understand what you guys are about there?
Yeah, so all throughout the summer, I did a movie night for every Saturday. I let everybody who was on our Instagram. I would put up a poll on Little Beach Harvest Instagram, and they would pick which movies. I would put a collective of movies up. They would pick from which one, and then I would let them come through on that Saturday night. I had the whole area set up where it was movie seats and like inflatable chairs, tiki torches, I had popcorn, all that shit set up.
That's amazing.
And yeah, and it was fun. It was a fun outing, a whole bunch of cannabis movies and stuff like that. Then I did it wasn't every Sunday, it was like once a month during this one Sunday a month. I would do a car show where basically I would have the community of car people if they wanted to come out and coffee, cars, and cannabis. I have down the road here on the strip, we have Raindrops, and they do coffee, excellent coffee. So they came by and they set up a coffee area for us, and cars who wanted to pull up and show off their cars, they had the free range to do it. I had a arts fair, and that's actually how I was in touch with Zoe. And it was basically, I had elders, I had anybody and anyone and everybody who wanted to just put their art up on a wall piece just to show people that this is what I'm doing. I had them come down. I used our whole second floor and our first floor, and I basically had them tack up their art and sell it if they like. And I still have some art up still.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to continuously do that. I had outside vendors doing live painting, all kinds of stuff, And then we 420 event where last year we had about 1,400 people come through the area, and it was beautiful. It was cool. It was our very first 1 year event. Our very first event of the year to be open, and we only did it in planned it. We planned it in like a month. And I got it done, man. It was cool. It was fun. I had a whole bunch of music. I had artists. I had all the brands come out, show face, And then this year we plan on doing the same thing. I have Dave East coming out, so that's real New York. You feel me? I have him coming out to perform for us. I'm trying to do a 2-day event.
That's sick.
So
keep me posted on that. Keep me tapped in on that.
Online and fun. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would love for you guys to come down, man. I ran into you guys at MJ Biz a couple of years back. I was looking, I was like, they're cool. You know what I mean? You had a good vibe. I was interviewing everybody and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna talk to them.
I appreciate that, man. I'm glad to be able to have that full circle, bro. Like I said at the beginning, bro, it's it's an honor to chat with you and to spend time with you guys and to be able to be a part of this journey together and to be able to change and build the perceptions of cannabis in the direction that we feel it should go in, right? You guys are really blending this current this balance of historic history and heritage, right? You guys are balancing that with current times, current legislation, what the people currently want and need now. And you guys are doing it in your own ways as a sovereign nation. You guys are able to watch how these other industries are doing it and be able to craft your own. And there's a unique beauty in being able to do that the right way, in a small way, but also in its own scale, 100%. Right? And I think that's something to be really applauded. That Absolutely. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. And although most people aren't doing it right, and maybe this one isn't the most perfect way yet, but it's still, there's different ways to do it, and it's working, and it's super cool. Big shout out to Little Beach Harvest for rocking with us today. Big shout out to you, Jay, for your time. Thank you. Big shout out to our sponsor today, everybody, Trees. Make sure you guys tap in and check that out.
Yes, sir.
Huge. Big shout out to Zoe for bringing us together. Usually what I like to do, Jay, at the end of our episodes is give people the floor to share a little bit about, speak to anything that's important to you. And so, as I've said, thank you again for your time, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Joey, I want to thank you for inviting Little Beach Harvest here and myself as well. I just want to give a shout out to Zoe and shout out to everybody else who supported us. Go follow us on Instagram. I have polls up where I give giveaways and everything like that. You can stay in tune with our future events that we have going on. That's at Little Beach Harvest. Straight up, just write that all together. No spaces, Little Beach Harvest. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Little Beach Harvest Dispensary. and you can just check out our product, our menus, see if everything you like is accustomed to yourself at littlebeachharvest.org.
And
All right, don't forget it's .org.
Are people not from the nation allowed to go shop at the store? We can go. Anybody
Absolutely.
Can go.
Anybody.
Okay,
Anybody and everybody.
So yeah, we're definitely pulling up.
Anybody and everybody.
New York. We're gonna have to make a trek out there.
Yeah, all you need is a valid ID, man, or passport. You know, however you rocking, bro. Because if we don't care what you look like or who you are.
You're just welcome.
You know what I mean? Like, come through.
On, man.
Hey, yo, I say it all the time. Cannabis has so many different faces, man. Like, it's not. We have, especially in the area that I'm in, we have doctors, lawyers, firefighters, all that. You know what I mean? But they all come through for this plant. They all need medical or some kind of things to alleviate or help their day. And that's who we are, and that's why we're here, and that's what we do.
Hell yes, man. You guys are bringing good quality products to the people. Working with your guys is we'll call it in-nation cannabis cultivators, creative people building these brands, these manufacturers. You guys are doing satellite grows with people and brands as well. That's super awesome. Jay, I appreciate your time. For anybody watching, man, make sure you guys tap in. Jay already mentioned the site, so be sure to tap in and check those out. Follow them, support them, comment, engage with the polls. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm Joey J. Pingman. This is Jay Wright. I'm on Respect My Region. They're Little Beach Harvest. Make sure y'all tap in and support, and we will see y'all on the next episode. Brought to you guys by Trees.